Some of you lasses have claimed that us men have no right to judge your moral compass on things like how you dress, talk, promiscuity, and you're correct. We don't have no right to judge you. But who are your biggest judges? Your biggest judges are other women. Let's keep it real.
Why is it always a problem with what I'm wearing at a weigh-in?
Because
apparently, okay. I don't follow you. Apparently,
yeah. I'll tell you why. You want to know why?
Finish, we might get there.
Okay.
You've got a problem with apparently I wore my dad's underwear or something to a fight.
Yeah.
But I'm only about the fighting. But if that's your angle, that's fine. What does it matter what I'm wearing?
No, it doesn't. But what happened is that you did an interview. I'll tell you exactly because I have a brilliant memory.
Your comment was before that. I know the interview.
The interview
was before
no,
the
it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was fight camp.
Because you had an interview with Boxing UK and you said if she wants to get naked, she should get naked somewhere else because this is boxing and she should take it serious and it's a serious sport. That's exactly what you said. I can quote you and I can reshare the thing. Then.
So that was Shannon Courtney and Ebony Bridges going at it. And Shannon, all the way through their build-up in a world title fight that Shannon won, she kept judging Ebony about her attire, her lingerie, how it's a bad example to kids and you want to get the right eyes and ears on boxing. But this was a woman who was having to be bleeped out throughout the head-to-head, Shannon Courtney, because of her profanity. This is a woman who, she could say she was young, had very inflammatory views on the Muslim community, but yet you're passing judgment on another woman for how she dresses. Ebony herself can be a little potty-mouthed as well, but she's a teacher, isn't she? She's a very talented drawer as well. Shannon's bigging up Katie Taylor, how she's paved the way for women's boxing. But I don't think Katie said a blasphemous word in her whole existence. And she certainly wouldn't do it on camera. So if Katie Taylor is Shannon's role model, what has Shannon really took from Katie as a role model? Now, Shannon ain't perfect, but she hasn't murdered anyone. And some of the abuse she's took online, it is what it is, it's social media, but it's been a bit excessive. Let's keep it real. And Shannon did some commentary when Ebony won a world title last year against Maria Cecilia Roman. And she was a little heavy, out of camp. And she received some horrible comments about her apparent weight gain by the Twitter trolls. Who was the first person that stepped up to defend Shannon after all she said about Ebony? Ebony was the first. I want to address the public about fat shaming of my mate, Shanny. As much as we have bad blood, I understand we as fighters most often do not walk around at our fight weights. We all get fat out of camp. The only time I will talk about her weight is when she misses weight on the scales. Although Ebony could have been taking a shot at her because didn't Shannon fail to make the weight when she got stripped of her WBA title and then outboxed by the American Mitchell? But she defended her. Regardless, she defended her. What was Shannon's excuse? Her menstrual cycle started. No comment. No comment from Beats, but a lot of women said that's not a valid reason because blah, blah, blah. And they would know more than me. I'm not going to go through the reasons why they said it's not a legit excuse. And then there was Shotgun Shannon O'Connell, another Shannon, her fellow countrywoman from Australia.
My message is just, be you, be real. And if that's what you want to do, you should do it. I don't think anyone should ever judge you. I've been saying that from day one with the whole, this is just Shannon Courtney bloody all over again, to be honest. It's the same script, so I feel like I'm repeating myself, but really it's just, like you don't judge someone on what they do and what they wear. And
I don't like the way Ebony has gone about things. I think, if you look back to 10 years ago when there's girls like Susie Ramadan, Erin McGowan, all those kind of girls, we never got recognized. We went on all the amateur tournaments and tours and we paid our own way, and where there was no respect in the sport for women. And I believe that, people like Katie Taylor,
Here we go, quoting Katie Taylor again, the Mother Teresa of boxing.
Everyone has worked so hard to gain that respect, and then, doing things the way Ebony has done them.
I'm not working hard. So you don't think that I'm actually working hard? You don't think that I've worked hard? In a different way. That's what you actually think I just haven't worked hard because I look a bit different and what I do isn't the same as you or the same as Katie Taylor. You're saying that I haven't had it the hard way because I'm just a little bit different.
Well, because you get your clothes off to be seen.
I get my clothes off. Sorry, but what does everyone else weigh in? So Clarissa Shields, who just weighed in lingerie, gets her clothes off too. And all the girls that get their clothes off,
I get the feeling Ebony's not very popular in Australia. Matchroom won the purse bid and she's signed to Matchroom. And the fight's in Leeds, in the United Kingdom. Don't quote me. I believe Ebony bases herself from out of Leeds. And a lot of people are expecting the fight to be in Australia, a big Australian showdown. But listening to T Street and his Australian correspondent, Ebony's pissed a lot of people off down under. And I don't think she wants to fight Shannon in Australia. I'm not even sure if she wants to fight in Australia at all. And online, it seems like a lot of people either want Shannon O'Connell to win, or they believe she's going to beat Ebony down. She's more experienced, more fights, got quite a few knockouts. She's taller, probably has a longer reach. I believe the Australians believe Ebony has perhaps left them abandoned after having 4 of her first fights in Australia, then getting hooked up with Matchroom, and now she don't want to have a homecoming fight. She doesn't want to have the big showdown in Australia. It's a grudge match. 10th of December, First Direct Arena, Leeds. Josh Warrington is headlining against Luis Lopez. The arena will be packed out, make no mistake. Ebony's got them frustrated, not just in Australia. Like, I believe she got a gift of a decision over Gangloff. I won't forget the girl's name because I remember watching it. She got a gift. And she probably has been fast-tracked because she might say all women strip down to their lingerie at the weigh-in. Yeah, they do. They do, but, you know, she's got the laced-up thrilly gears on, had her breast augmented. But the counter-argument to that, she has brought a lot of eyes, regardless of their motives, to the sport that previously weren't there. And it's not just for her pugilism. This is probably Shannon O'Connell's biggest purse. Well, she's fighting on a Matchroom card with Ebony. Now, this is Ebony's first defense of the IBF Super Bantamweight title. Can she keep hold of the strap? And I'm assuming Eddie, even though it's a mandatory, Eddie would have worked out some options if Shannon O'Connell takes the belt, which I'm sure Shannon's team were willing to explore, because you either got to go Matchroom or a box of XX if you're a woman, surely. So let's see how it pans out. From what I'm seeing, Lee Wood doesn't have a fight scheduled, so it's got to be a quack. If you ain't got a fight scheduled, why not reschedule a Lara fight? Are you injury-free now? But initially, that 75-25 split that the WBA have for champion and mandatory challengers destroyed the initial fight he was supposed to take with Leo Santa Cruz, who hasn't defended that featherweight belt since 2019. Is that actually true? 2022, November, the WBA have ordered that Stanionis defend his interim WBA title against Golden Boy's Virgil Ortiz. Same 75-25 split. And what does this do to fights, basically? You got 30 days to organise it, or it goes to the purse bid. Well, if it goes to the purse bid, Golden Boy ain't going to put up a whole load of money just to hand over 75% of the pot. I mean, what do Golden Boy get for that if they win? A regular title? You got to be kidding me. It literally gives either side a way out of not taking the fight. That's what it does. 40-60 is a fair split between challenger and champion. Why have you went to 25? More than likely we're not going to get this fight. And it would have been a good fight. And it would be more likely that Schaefer is unlikely to come to a deal in the 30 days. He'll be holding out for it to go to a purse bid for the 75-25% split, of which he can do one of them ghost bids and pay Stanionis, let's say, $500,000 on the official books. But in all reality, he's giving him $300,000 just to secure the bid. The extra $200,000 is what can be used to beat out Golden Boy's bid, similar to the Tyson Fury Dillian White situation. And if Golden Boy really want the belt, they're going to have to put up whatever amount of bread more than Schaefer puts up, and Schaefer gets 75% of it. But in reality, how much is Oscar really going to put up to get a regular belt? It's a huge gamble. Huge gamble. Putting up a large purse bid, then having to give 75 of the pot away. It's a huge gamble. Then you've got the feud between Oscar and Richard Schaefer that hasn't been resolved since 2014 when Schaefer left Golden Boy. Are they going to come to an agreement in 30 days? We'll see. So Dan Rafael, old doom and gloom Dan, not really. He's just being pragmatic about the situation, the hurdles the Tank Ryan Garcia fight faces. For a start, contracts have not been signed. They haven't been signed. There has been no official announcement. And Tank in January fights Hector Garcia, and Ryan and Golden Boy are talking about having an interim fight before to sharpen Ryan's tools before he goes in to do battle with Tank. So they both got to come through unscathed with W's, no injuries. Plus, Tank's got to deal with a court case in Baltimore in February. for a misdemeanor that occurred in 2020. And it makes you think, if Tank's got to go court, unless they got the judges in their pocket, anything could happen. Why not make the Ryan Garcia fight in January rather than fighting Hector Garcia? Why are they taking interim fights? Oh, well, they're both rusty. Well, if they're both rusty, they both have the same disadvantage or advantage. Any way you want to look at it. Ryan fought in July this year. Tank fought in May. They can both fight in January. Come on, man. Rusty. Rusty what? This is all they do is box. They should be training all the time and getting the top sparring partners. Rust shouldn't come into this. They ain't got no other jobs to deal with or anything like that, or other commitments. The fight should be happening in January. I mean, the PBC are taking liberties. Tank has fought once this year. Ryan's been calling for this fight a long time. You could have made Tank's second fight for the year against Ryan Garcia. Ryan's fought twice this year. If the fight does happen, it's going to be on Showtime. DAZN are going to sit this one out. If you're a DAZN subscriber, you will be able to purchase the pay-per-view on the DAZN app via Showtime. How that plays out in other territories like the UK, I don't know. Surely they're not going to try and charge us $80 for a pay-per-view 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. Nah, man, I ain't buying it. So Dan, my main man, 40 grand and all that, you really brought the fucking mood down, haven't you? That video was like an AA meeting. I'm feeling very sober right now. And it seems like Ryan was really determined to get this fight. And boxers are not pragmatic because they're not in the boardroom, they're not crunching figures. But Tank is going to be the favourite going into the fight. And the PBC have gave up no concessions. DAZN and Golden Boy are frozen out of the broadcasting process. Ryan is taking a lower share of the split. Dan said people at Golden Boy are not happy with the deal. But they couldn't risk Ryan leaving because they couldn't make this fight. Nothing signed as yet. And if they feel they're playing themselves, DAZN, what's stopping them from backtracking and backing out? Finding some excuse to back out. And it is what it is. I'm not sure if this fight happens. It's good advertisement for Tank's so-called pay-per-view event against Hector Garcia, isn't it? Very convenient. They've done all this negotiation for Tank to have a tune-up on pay-per-view. Who puts a tune-up on pay-per-view? Very convenient that it's in a couple of months' time as well. Squeezing every penny out of the situation and making us wait how long after Tank's court case and these 2 tune-up fights. The Eastern European fighter going into the pro ring with an extensive amateur background, some WSB, which in theory could actually be added to these totals, the WSB fights, because they're not amateur fights, they are pro fights really, but they say semi-pro, so we won't count them. So if we start with Dimitri Bivol, he's 31 years of age, he's had 21 fights, he's been a pro for 8 years, and he's had 21 fights. He won the title from old Trent Broadhurst, vacant title, and he was 11-0 when he defeated Trent. So over half of his career has been spent in WBA title fights. His development was really done in the amateurs. 1 fight late 2014, 4 fights in 2015, 3 fights 2016. 2016, Felix Valera was a step-up opponent who he handily beat. 4 fights in 2017, the year he won the title. 11 world title fights, 10 come-up fights. Half of his career has been spent in world title fights. He won't have the numbers of his predecessors in a pro ring by the time he retires, because at 31 years of age, and it taking him 8 years to amass 21 fights, well, how long would it take you to amass 42 fights? Which is not a huge number of pro fights. We're talking another 8 years maybe, unless he really drops a level and starts fighting journeyman. For what reason he'd be doing that, I don't know. In the last 5 years, he's fought an average of 2 fights a year. In 2018, he fought 3, 19-2, 22, 2022, 2 fights, 2021, 2 fights, 2022, 2 fights. There's no way he's going to retire with 40 wins, and I don't see him sticking around to see if he can beat lower tier opposition for a payday. I don't see that. It's more quality over quantity. And it's not just them. Fighters generally from all regions of the world are fighting a lot less. You've had people like Peter Radmacher from America. He challenged for the world title on his debut. He won the 1956 Olympics in Australia. And he challenged Floyd Patterson for the world title on his debut and got stopped. He actually scored a knockdown against Patterson. They pitched him in after that with Zora Foley. who was an experienced contender, and he got knocked out again. You got Leon Spinks. He won the Olympics at light heavy in 1976. His brother Michael won gold at middle in the same Olympics, Montreal. He was 6-0-1 when he fought Muhammad Ali. He won a split decision and became heavyweight champion. This sequence here is crazy, man. Like, Lomachenko turned pro October 2013, won his debut, challenged Orlando Salido for the vacant WBO featherweight title and lost a split decision. In his next fight, he challenged for that same belt again when it was vacant, beat the 24-0 Gary Russell. That's a serious sequence of fights for modern day boxing standards. He's currently 17-2, 34 years of age, competing in his third weight class. Does Lomachenko even get to 25 fights before he retires? Not sure. He does have a legacy though, and an impressive one too. I don't see 30 fights for Lomachenko. He fought once this year, twice 2021, twice 2020, twice 2019, twice 2018, 3 times 2017. He's never fought 4 times in a year. For him to get to numbers like 30, which is a low number of pro fights, especially if you compare records historically, unless he dips his levels of competition severely. We're talking him retiring in his 40s to get up to 30 fights. Dimitri Bivol, similar, pro for 8 years, never once fought 5 times in a year, 8 years of pro, 21 fights, undefeated, no losses, no draws. 11 of them fights have been WBA title fights. He took the vacant title from Broadhurst in 2017. He recently beat Canelo. He is consensus pound for pound ranked. How high, how low in the pound for pound stakes you have him is subjective and down to opinion. So is this the route that we need to go down in Britain? Like, should Daniel Dubois have been in the last Olympics rather than punching for pay? Well, I don't think it's as simple as keeping a fighter in the amateur ranks for extended periods of time. I don't believe so. I think it's the type of coaching they're getting while they're amateur as well is enabling them to fast track successfully. Beterbiev, 18 knockouts, 18 fights, became champion in his 11th fight, been a pro for 9 years, unified 3 of the main straps in his 18th fight against Joe Smith, 37 years of age. How long does he go on for? Maybe unify against Bivol, couple more defenses. He could conceivably retire in his 20th fight, 25 at a push. And what is he going to really be sticking around for? Move up to cruiser? We'll see. I don't think he retires with more than 25 fights. When compared historically, these are unusually low numbers these Russians and Ukrainians will be retiring with. Modern day standards, he doesn't need to do much more to be considered one of the best of his generation amongst his peers. Alexander Usyk, 35 years of age, 20 fights. In his 3rd year as a pro, in his 10th professional fight, he beat Krzysztof Glowacki to become WBO cruiserweight champion, beating Holyfield's record of winning a world title at the same weight limit. Well, it was 190 when Holyfield did it. It's 200 pounds in this era where Usyk did it. Although Holyfield's win over Dwight Muhammad Cowie is a way better scalp than Glowacki. No disrespect to Glowacki, that's the truth. But that doesn't matter. 3 years as a pro, 10th professional fight, he becomes a champion. In his 5th year as a pro, in his 15th fight, he becomes undisputed cruiserweight champion. Will that ever be done again? Will anyone become a 4-belt undisputed champion in 15 fights? Will that be done again? Not without a tournament. No way. In his 18th fight, he became unified heavyweight champion. In his 18th fight, 8 years in as a pro, and defended his unified titles against the man he took them from, Anthony Joshua. Most of us are speculating that Usyk is looking to get this undisputed fight with Fury, and if he's successful, he could retire with 21 fights, undisputed in 2 weight classes. 2019, he fought once that year. 2020, he fought once that year. 2021, he fought once that year. And this year, he's fought once a year. At 35, he's hardly likely to increase that to 2 to 3 fights a year. He's got a few left in the game, and he's out. They're not worried about ring rust, these guys. They're worried about preparing for the big fights. Fuck all this tune-up shit. Tune up in the gym. Tune up in sparring. Tune up your conditioning. Get in there and do the business. It's unlikely if Lomachenko was in Tank's position and had this fight finalized, quote-unquote finalized, with Ryan Garcia that he'd be taking a tune-up against Hector Garcia. No, let's just have the fight. Over a 16-year period, David Haye had 32 fights. That's a low number. He managed to become unified cruiserweight champion and had a version of the WBA heavyweight title. Ray Leonard in a career that spanned 20 years, although he was inactive for 6 years between the Terry Norris and Hector Camacho fights. He also retired in the early 80s, retina damage, came back in 84. I remember it well, against Kevin Howard, didn't look too good, retired straight away, and came back in 87 against Hagler. So we can take maybe 11 years off his career, of that 20-year period that he was a pro. And that's why his numbers are so low compared to the fighters of that period. 40 fights, we always thought these were low numbers. David Haye, Sugar Ray, but I think these Eastern Europeans are setting a blueprint where the elite fighters, and they're not all going to be coming from Eastern Europe. There's going to be a lot of fighters outside that region trying to duplicate that blueprint. Whether they'll be successful, we'll see. And we're going to see a lot of careers ending at 25 fights. 25 pro fights out. Unless they blow all their money and they're forced to continue boxing at a lower tier level. Anthony Yarde is capable of beating Artur BETERBIEV. And that's not just me being biased cheerleading either. BETERBIEV is not a defensive wizard. He's not. It would be stupid to underestimate his boxing ability, but he's not the most talented Eastern European in terms of movement and elusiveness. He's not. Anyone who stands in range with Anthony Yarde and you've got to take them left uppercuts to the heart region, ask any of his opponents who felt them uppercuts up close. He has a shot. He has a shot. It's all about self-belief. If he doesn't freeze, just like when I was assessing Denzel's fight against Johnny Beck, as long as you don't freeze, sky's the limit and the possibilities are endless. Yo, Frank's put it on a plate for you, brother. This guy's coming off surgery. He's aging. It's in London. Now, in my opinion, I don't think Denzel froze. I think he fought to instructions, but he didn't come out assertive enough. If he had made a great start, who knows what could have happened. And Yarde needs a good start, man. Need a good start. Early knockdown. Cut his eye. And just build. And give us a great night that we could talk about for years to come. I believe Yarde is sturdier than the likes of Marcus Brown, who was giving BETERBIEV issues, had him cut bad. Was it a head clash? BETERBIEV, big favourite, no doubt. No doubt about that. Can't deny that. And Yarde, yeah, you got your work cut out. You got your work cut out. But hopefully so does BETERBIEV. If Yarde doesn't do better than the likes of Joe Smith, or at least as good as Vodzik, I'll be very disappointed. That's all I can say. Looking forward to it. And Yarde's tune-up against Koikov. Koikov fought totally different from the Koikov I saw against Malik. I think that was at middleweight. He was very aggressive against Malik, but against Yarde, despite having a chiseled up physique and whatnot, he didn't want the smoke, did he? Fought on a retreat. He was brave. He did try to land some power shots, but he was outsized, outmatched, outskilled, outmuscled. And Yarde counterpunched in the first round. Didn't want to take any chances, obviously. Perhaps a bit rusty in the second. He backed up on the ropes and caught a left hook. But then, he came forward behind his jab and some heavy body shots and uppercuts and broke Koikov down. Third round, 2 body shots from both hands, a left hand, a right hand, some uppercuts, and a right uppercut to the head. It was all over. It was all over. Easy tune-up as it was supposed to be. January promises to be a different proposition, though.
Jaime Munguia, the crumb snatcher, the bum basher. Now I'm gonna ask you, when you gonna step up your competition or opposition? They gotta listen.
Okay, so I saw Jaime take apart Gonzalo Gaston Correa on DAZN earlier this morning. I caught a replay. I also saw him take apart Jimmy Kilrain Kelly in April. I also saw him take apart Demetrius Ballard in his 3 fights this year. Are they just trying to keep him active while they work on his strengths and weaknesses in the gym? Or is there any benefits taking on these opponents? Maybe there is. Maybe there is. I'm not going to totally just blow it off like that. I know as a boxing fan, and I speak for a large percentage of us saying this, I'm not getting entertainment for my subscription from Jaime on DAZN. I'm not getting it. And I expect to step up next year in caliber of opposition. I can't say no more than that. I watched Greg Hardy, the American footballer, take on Hasim Rahman Jr. And I watched a couple of other nutters, Dean the Great and the Walid Sharks in Texas on DAZN. And the atmosphere was wild. You know, the commentators were enthusiastic. The boxing we so-called hardcores talk about is now reserved for a niche sect of us. There ain't too many who's going to buy into it no more. I watched Greg Hardy take a bit of a beating in the first round from Rahman, then come back and Hardy scores a knockdown in the exchange with Rahman. Rahman landed a right and Hardy landed his own right and down he went. He had a big weight advantage, way bigger than Hasim Rahman, and it was a thriller right to the end and Hardy won the fight. Bit of an upset.
It's there.
And then I watched Dean the Great knock out Walid. Both fights were 4-rounders. Everything was a scheduled 4-rounder on the card. And then you've got the Misfits getting up to all their madness. I heard some people complaining that KSI and his opponent, they staged the little ruckus they had between them. And I'm thinking, well, why not? Why not sell the show? I'm kind of envious of that circuit because it doesn't seem like it's bogged down in bureaucracy. Oh, you're a casual boxing fan, you're a hardcore. Everyone involved seems like they're enjoying their work. In the sanctioning body world of boxing, they hate putting fights on that we want to see. They almost take pride in not giving us them fights. People like Leonard Ellaby telling us we don't understand the logistics or how the math adds up. No, I don't know. I just know I want to watch some boxing. I know who I want to see fight. I know for the most part, you ain't going to give me what I want.
Thank you.
Floyd, I want to switch gears real quick, man. Javante said, I'm not signed to a single soul. So is Tank now a free agent or is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions?
That's a long pause, Floyd. That's a very long pause.
Well, this is the Mayweather-Deji press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun. And I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
Deji.
I don't want to speculate, and I'm not going to. There's been no official split between Mayweather and Tank. Was that Blue Blood asking the questions in reply to what Blue Blood had to say? He said, I don't want to be disrespectful. Why would you be disrespectful? He's signed to you. That was a bit of a giveaway. Perhaps. He also said, I don't want to talk disrespectful about any fighter. That's not any fighter. That's Tank. That's your only pay-per-view fighter you've had since Floyd retired. Leonard said, congratulations to Tank and Ryan on agreeing on the fight. But I would have expected more enthusiasm from Leonard than that. So I'm not sure if he's involved. He might just be saving face right now. It looks like it's all a little up in the air still. That's all I can say. The Hector Garcia fight is on BoxRec. Promoter Tom Brown, TGB. Maybe they spelled TGB wrong. It's TMT. And he's the matchmaker too. No Leonard, no Floyd, no TMT. Typo? It looks like when Keith Thurman is confronted with a fight, he's not going to take. He goes high. Bo Mack and Bob Arum said he wanted $10 million to fight Terence Crawford. That was a couple of years back. Keith in his defense said he's lying. He said Bob Arum is a notorious liar. But I don't know, Keith. It's a bit of a coincidence that Boots Ennis's old man says Keith wanted $10 million to fight Jerome Ennis. Bit of a coincidence that. Looks like when Keith is confronted with a fight that he knows he ain't going to take, he just goes high, like Styles P. Bob, he doesn't want to put Lomachenko versus Haney on pay-per-view. Neither of them are big draws in the US, or anywhere else for that matter. So he doesn't want to give the fighters guarantees, and because they can't sell, like Devin Dunn pay-per-view on DAZN against Jojo Diaz. He got a guarantee of $750. Jojo got $500. I don't expect it done big numbers, maybe not over 60 or 50 or 70 or whatever numbers it did. So Jojo and Devin were hoping that some miracle would give them big pay-per-view numbers, but no. If you negotiate a flat purse, let's say $1.2 million, and you're not a big seller, you're better off doing that. You might not sound like a lot of money when you're looking at some of the purses some boxers earn, like Canelo, AJ, Tyson Fury, or Wilder. But you got to take what you can get right now. And with advertisement and a good gate, because it would do a good gate, Bob would be able to give them more money with a flat purse than he would a guarantee and pay-per-view. Jermaine Franklin has been in Tyson Fury's training camp. preparing for Dillian Whyte. We saw what Tyson Fury did to Dillian in May, defending that WBC title. I wonder if Jermaine has been tapping Tyson Fury for any pointers on how to defeat Dillian. Dillian, he's not stressed by that. He didn't seem to be when he was discussing it. He's got Buddy McGirt training him now. This is the most important fight of his career. Basically fighting to save his spot as a top 10 contender. As a boxer, it must be hard sometimes to fight against your instincts. Like, the last time Jermaine Franklin would have seen Dillian, he would have been flat on his back. He got up before the count, but he was stopped by Tyson Fury. Surely, in his mind, he believes he can do a similar job. But he's not Tyson Fury. He must be mindful of that. He must approach the fight where he can take advantage of a Dillian who might be lacking in confidence after his non-performance against Tyson Fury. That was the worst I've seen Dillian box, and that could be down to Tyson Fury. Not it could be, it was down to Tyson Fury. But he must be mindful that Dillian is a capable contender on his day, has a very good set of skills. He's not quick on his feet, but when his mind is right, he could put in very solid displays of boxing, demonstrate punching power, and that's the Dillian Jermaine Franklin must prepare for. There's a lot to play for, a lucrative fight with AJ for the winner. Eddie Hearn has told Jermaine Franklin if you win, a 7-figure purse awaits you against Anthony Joshua. Life-changing money. Dillian, he won't be as concerned about the money as Jermaine Franklin. He's earned well. This is about pride. It's about the money as well. It is about the money. Let's not get that twisted. But he needs a W, and he said it himself. I'll take the W any way it comes. Points, knockout, whatever. He said, win this one and look pretty in the next fight if necessary. Paraphrasing Dillian. Jermaine, Saginaw, Michigan, USA, 29 years of age, 6'2", 77-inch reach. Dillian Whyte, the body snatcher, 35 years of age, born in Jamaica, resident of the United Kingdom, 6'4", 78-inch reach. Franklin has a decent KO ratio, 14 in 21, no losses, no draws. You know, I'm picking Dillian to win because I just don't see Rydell Booker going the distance with Dillian. It could happen. In saying that, Filip Hrgovic is the only person to knock him out, but I believe Dillian takes him out. He's got split decision wins over Jerry Forrest. Pavel Sawor, he beat him over 10, and Nathan Gorman destroyed this guy in 2. And so did Makhmudov. Makhmudov done him in 1. Dillian don't let these guys go the distance. I don't believe so. In saying that, Jermaine looks sturdy, looks quick. I don't think he's been off his feet. I think this is a points fight, or maybe a late stoppage in Dillian's favour. A good British heavyweight title is on the undercard. Fabio Wardley versus Nathan Gorman. Fabio is now 14-0. He's in the same camp as Dillian. Nathan Gorman is 19-1. Nathan has 13 stoppages, 1 loss to Daniel Dubois, which he lost by stoppage. Fabio is a banger. He's got 13 KOs in 14 wins. I'm tempted to go with Fabio. I don't want to write Nathan off. I think it could be a tough fight. Looking forward to that one. Craig Richards, Dillian putting his homeboys on, but Richards is definitely worth the entrance fee. He takes on Ricards Bolotniks for a WBA International Light Heavy title. That's a good fight. The last time I saw Bolotniks, he gave Joshua Buatsi a few issues before getting knocked out late. Craig should win that. They've also got Sandy Ryan, Siobhan Clark. Pat McCormack makes his Matchroom debut. A lot of people are excited about that. He took home a silver 2021 Olympics. He's won the Commonwealth Games previously. He was a very, very good amateur. Took a silver in the World Championships in 2019. And Matchroom have high hopes for Pat McCormack. Good card. Regular subscription on DAZN.